Hello, Jen here with a layout for the Stretch the Sketch series. This is the layout we're using this month, and in this series what we do is there's a whole bunch of us who use a sketch to inspire a layout, and we try to stretch it into a size other than what the sketch is. So if it's a 12 by 12 sketch, we try to do maybe a double page spread or a traveler's notebook or 8.5 by 11, whatever it might be. So this month our sketch is an 8.5 by 11 sketch, which is such a fun size, but I am going to stretch it into 2 pages. So here you can see I started off with a little bit of mixed media. I just took some Tim Holtz Distress inks and oxide inks and smushed them along the sides of my pages. That's sort of the general area where those speech bubbles are in the sketch. And I knew that I wanted to cover up some of the white space that was there because it's a lot of white, and we all know my struggle with white space. So I wanted to have a little bit of something fun in that general area. I wasn't sure that I was going to do speech bubbles or whatever it might be on both sides of the layout, but I just wanted to have it on both sides so that it kind of makes the layout feel complete. And then I decided there is one large sort of background piece or background layer on the sketch where the photos are. And so I decided to take this 12 by 12 piece of paper that has some text on it. This one is from Pebbles, and it's a couple of years old. It's from a fall line from a couple of years ago. And I decided to just cut it right in half and use that in that same way as basically my one layer for my photos. There were a couple little cards on the other side that I wanted to cut out. So I grabbed one and I just made sure that my photos were going to cover that hole. And then on this side here, I just wanted that pumpkin. So I cut that out, but I made sure that it was also hidden with my photos. So that works out really good. And instead of using 2 photos, I decided since I'm doing a 2-page spread, I'm going to double the photos. So I have here 4 photos. And because these are 12 by 12 layouts instead of the 8.5 by 11, I just kept them at the 4 by 6 size because I felt like we're just kind of stretching everything in that sketch. So while I was waiting for my camera, which died for the battery, to charge again, you can see that on either side of my original pattern paper with the text on it, I just added an extra strip of pattern. I felt like it needed to be stretched just a little bit further, and the 12 by 12, or I guess 6 inches on either side wasn't enough. I wanted the pattern to extend a little bit further than the photos. So it's the same paper. One side was pumpkins and one side was that plaid. So I just put one on each end of the photos. And then this is actually the manufacturer's strip from that same paper. So I literally used this entire paper. That manufacturer's strip had that nice dark brown with the colors. So I'm using that as a bit of a border. And also I feel like the dark brown kind of grounds everything a little bit. So, and gives that contrasting color, so that worked out really good too. And I just cut that up so that I had enough of it to use on both sides of the layout, and just in the seam where those 2 papers meet. And now, instead of speech bubbles, I'm going to use this other piece of paper, which was just a whole bunch of 2 by 2 squares. I'm going to use those as my speech bubbles. And so what I kind of thought might work here is, instead of having it run all down one side or having them on both sides running vertically down the paper, I'm going to sort of look at it like I have say 3/4 of it running down on the left hand side, and then from the top to the bottom, and then at that 3/4 mark I kind of flip it over and have that last third or that last quarter. It's probably about a third, that last third of it running down the right hand side. Somewhere you I think you actually see me kind of making those hand gestures like, look at how I split it right here. So you'll see that. But essentially that's what I did. I just took those speech bubbles and kind of moved that bottom third of them over to the other side. And I'm just looking for some fun things. So you can see I added some wood veneer. I'm really putting a good dent in that little box of wood veneer that I got. Actually, it's accumulating other companies too. So that box that you see there has a whole bunch of cute little wood veneer that I got from Dollarama. And then I also found a pack from Dollar Tree. And so you can see some leaves in there too. That's where all of those came from. So I kind of stuck those in random places within the little clusters. And these are some die cut leaves that I have. They were actually in my Halloween stash, and I pulled them out. I did a Halloween layout as part of my application for a design team, and found all of these leaves. So I decided to pull them out and pop them in there. And some of them are just a regular pattern paper, and some of them have orange glitter. So I thought that was kind of a nice, fun contrast. So I'm just going to glue that all down. I also used some stickers from the sticker sheet that came in the collection that the paper comes from. And I just liked that I kind of picked out all the round stickers, or there's a couple stickers that are acorn shaped, and I just thought that those kind of break up all of the squares. Because that's one thing I really like about the original sketch. The speech bubbles kind of create this movement with their shapes, right? They're all these sort of wonky, rounded shapes, and I feel like squares kind of box you in instead of creating movement. And so I really wanted other shapes within these clusters to make sure that your eye is kind of moving around. And I think that the glitter does a really good job with that, because it catches your eye. It's sparkly, it's shiny. Same with these sequins that I'm putting in. They're from Spiegel Mom Scraps. That catches your eye and kind of forces your eye to look around the cluster and around the layout. So the last thing I wanted to do is put a title. I don't normally do this, but I just really liked how nice and prominent the title is in the sketch. And because I knew that I wasn't going to put that tag that you see down at the bottom, I don't really have any journaling that I need to do for this layout. It's just part of a whole bunch of layouts. And I feel like the text paper kind of represents any journaling or words that I might have wanted to put in there. I really wanted to make sure I had a title. So I pulled out two different brown fonts that you see here. I didn't have a second L, so I was going to use the I, and when you put the dot on the I and squish it together, it was the right size to be an L, but it still looked to me like an I, so it said, in my mind, it said fail family, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are days where I feel like that's probably true, but I didn't want that to be the title of my layout, so I just cut a section and made my own L. And then I have fun, just in Simple Stories, flat stickers, but the orange I felt like it was disappearing, so I pulled out these green ones, and they were smaller than the orange ones, so I decided I could layer them up, and that actually worked out really, really cute. It was fun, true to its word. And now I just needed something to fill in that gap there, so I'm going to add a squirrel. I added a hedgehog down at the bottom. I am so proud of myself. I've been trying to use those hedgehogs since I got these wood veneer, like the whole month, and I finally was able to use one because it mirrors the hedgehog in that little card that says my favorite time of year. And since there was also a squirrel there, I thought that a cute little squirrel would work well too. And that's it. Oh, there you saw my hand movements. I finished off with a little bit of gold, Heidi Swap Color Shine, and I am done with this layout. So be sure to check out all of the links down below for the other ladies who played along this month, because their layouts are always amazing. And if you have any questions, leave them for me in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Happy scrapping. Bye.